Thank you very much, Jordan. Good morning, everybody. I have presented to this audience the user group of Scotland many times before in person. Unfortunately, this year it has to be done virtually, like I have done many other events over the last 2 months virtually. So I think this is the new normal, at least for this year. So my name is, as Jordan said, and for those who don't know me or who I have not met before, my name is Nadia Bendjeou. I am a Vice President of Product Strategy within the Oracle eBusiness Suite Development Organization. Today, I'd like to share with you the latest on the eBusiness Suite product itself, the strategy, where we are, what we have been doing in the last since last time we met, in particular in what we have done in the last year, and take questions and answers at the end. I'm sure you are familiar with the safe harbor statement from Oracle. So this is the quick agenda we have. We talk about EBS overall strategy, the investment we have been doing and we continue to do, and leave you with some takeaways and additional resources to use in your own time. So first, let's focus on the EBS overall strategy. This is really something I have put recently and this particular slide, because every time I meet customers, the first 30 seconds, I get bombarded with this question. What is the state of EBS as a product, as a customer base, as an investment, as a strategy going forward, and so on? Lots of questions come in customers' mind within the first 30 seconds. So those questions I have summarized into hexagons, and I'm trying to respond to them today. So customer says, what about your customer base? We definitely have a very large and very healthy customer base worldwide. We continue to provide ongoing investment in the EBS product line. I'll explain that in more detail. Customers, EBS customers are adopting the cloud, most importantly, the OCI. That is, we see a lot of uptake in the Oracle Cloud infrastructure adoption for EBS customers and by EBS customers. How do we deliver all this innovation? We deliver it through regular updates, and I discussed that. And finally, we do have a very clear long-term support strategy. So let's drill down on each of the hexagon in details. Our large customer base is very healthy, as I said, and has been for many years. It's the EBS product has been around for over 30 years. Some of the world's largest and mission-critical ERP and HCM system do actually run on EBS. If, for example, we talk about the US Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, they process 4.5 million claim transactions and issues over 1.5 billion in payment daily. This is probably one of the biggest EBS implementation of, especially on the payment. Dell, process more than 22 million orders worldwide annually. Again, it's running on EBS, single instance worldwide. Starbucks, every coffee we drink in Starbucks worldwide is actually managed globally by the global supply chain for over 30,000 stores, 45 distributor center, and 8 plants. This is, every single coffee we drink at Starbucks worldwide is done by EBS. Sometimes it's I just can't imagine the volume we are dealing with here. GE Healthcare manage its operation for medical devices with more than 12,000 users across 75 plants, again running at 12.2. Closer to home, the UK NHS pays about 1.7 million people with EBS payroll today. And I can carry on and on the largest and most critical system they are running EBS today. So usually customers said, yeah, we actually know that. We know that EBS has been very used worldwide. It's very complete. It's global. It has a lot of industry footprint, etc. I think this is not news to all of you. But then they say, so what about, are they doing more with EBS Do we have new EBS customers? That is really what the question comes to. And I have just put couple of names that they allowed me to share their story. Bechtel is today doing more with EBS. They are standardizing their procurement for construction projects using EBS project procurement. Project procurement in EBS, it's a fairly new module. And Bechtel is actually standardizing their whole procurement using this new module in EBS. Let's come back to the UK NHS. The UK NHS, as you know, they are merging, or there is a merger with social services. So they will increase their payroll from 1.7 million to 2.2 million with the merger of social services. So yes, customers are doing more. General Dynamics and DCNS, they are implementing EBS to support their nuclear submarines program as we speak. They are doing more with EBS. They are adding more EBS modules. LKQ is something that is also based in Europe. It's actually based in Holland. It's okay. I'm getting. Sorry, that's message pop up. LKQ. I like to talk about LKQ. It may not be a known brand name, but LKQ is about automotive spare parts distributor. And they have implemented a totally new EBS for their European division, and they have implemented it on OCI, the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So immediately, they did not put a data center, they did not buy hardware, they implemented EBS fresh on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So I call this customer born in the cloud, and I thought why I like to show them as a customer who is doing new implementation, not on traditional hardware, not on traditional data centers, but actually on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And that they have gone live recently, and actually they presented at the Open World in London in February, and they talked about their story. A very, very impressive story they told us last time. So this is just about, yes, we have a very healthy customers, and that healthy customers is continuing to be EBS customers. And yes, we do have new customers, and yes, our customers are doing more with EBS. So that really sums the first hexagon. The second hexagon, what are the ongoing investment for EBS customers? There are really two dimensions. The first dimension on the left-hand side of the slide, which is a strategic investment. This is really what we believe as an organization we need to do in the product. And our investment strategy really are going around through the functional innovation, meaning we add the new features, enhance the existing features, really dealing with some business processes, and the business owner is the main stakeholder in here. The second area is modernizing the user experience and the mobility. We are doing a lot more than ever done before for EBS to enhance the user experience and the user interface. And finally, from a strategic investment, we are enhancing our operational efficiency. That is really the stakeholder here is more your system administrator and your DBA. So you see here from the strategic investment, we are addressing every stakeholder in any company. The business owner, functional innovation, adding more within the functionality, automating business processes, and that's the business owner who cares the most about. The user experience, this is really the user itself. The user themselves is the stakeholder here. And the last one, the operation efficiency, is really about your system administrator and your DBA. So that is from our strategic investment. At the same time, as you see on the right-hand side, you see we are investing in the product based on what the customer are telling us. After 30 years developing the product, I think we could say easily and fairly that the product is very complete, very comprehensive, very complete, very global. Now, the focus is now really looking at what is the customers doing? What are they asking us to do? So we are focusing on what the customer is saying through the social media, which we have set up a few years ago. So those customer-driven enhancements are product-related, technology improvement, and we have already done that since 2016 through the social media, meaning Instead of in the old days where you raise enhancement request, it becomes a bug, it goes into the bug database. You really don't know what we are doing with that. We move that into a more transparent way, which is the social media. We have something called ideation, which is on my Oracle support communities, where you raise an idea, it gets voted through your peers. In fact, I do have a slide here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So this is my Oracle support communities customer vote. Raise an enhancement request or raise an idea that gets voted by your peers, by customers and partners, and then our development brings all of those ideas. They may get back in touch with the customer to get more information about the idea, and then we review them and see the feasibility of doing those ideas, depending on priorities, depending on how big a reach to the customer base, and so on. So if you are not familiar with this, please take some time to review the My Oracle support communities and do get engaged in providing ideas in your functional area. So that really sums the ongoing enhancement. We are enhancing based on our strategy themes, and we are enhancing based on the customer voice. And that sums it up. The third hexagon I talked about is customers are doing a lot with the cloud, and in particular the Oracle cloud infrastructure. Most of the use cases people are considering or have considered is, they start with the non-production environment. They put their dev and test and training environment into the Oracle cloud infrastructure as a starting point. Some customers actually start with the DR, putting their DR on the OCI, leaving their production on-prem. Some customers use it for backup. Instead of the good old days when you back up into disk and tapes, people are now backing up into the OCI. You can restore from it as well. Some people are considering OCI for reporting databases and so on. But the fundamental goal here for many customers is to put their production environment onto OCI once they are comfortable with the non-production environment. And we have many customers who have already done it. We have many customers who are doing it, and we have many customers who are studying it. So OCI as a platform for EBS has become a central piece of our investment strategy. Now, the next hexagon is how do we deliver all this innovation in the product, whether it's functional or technical. We are delivering it through a regular updates. As you probably have been following us, you see we are today on we are in 2020. We have our current release is 12.2.9, which we released back in August 2019. You've seen the releases of 12.2 started in 2013, and we have more or less been delivering a new update every 12 months. It's not a commitment, but it's almost like a de facto standard. People are expecting us, but it's not necessarily a commitment. It's just happened that we do that, and people expect us. And to tell you the truth, we do we put all the energy to not disappoint customers, to get a new update every 12 months. So that is from a functional perspective. In addition to the yearly update of EBS, we also have been delivering something totally new for EBS customers, something called ECC, which stands for Enterprise Command Centers. The very first release, they came back in 2018, and we have delivered 4 up to now. The last release of ECC was the ECC update March 2020, which is just at the beginning, in the middle of the COVID, in fact. We delivered we call it ECC March. In fact, it's the ECC V4. For those who are not familiar with ECC, please bear with me. I will show you a demonstration what ECC. It's basically the latest and the greatest innovation in EBS, and I think many customers have not seen such an innovation in EBS for a while. So this is something we are extremely proud of. People are downloading it like hot peanuts, and every time we talk about it, immediately people are downloading it. Okay, so this is how we are delivering the innovation. The innovation is delivered on the top of 12.2, and there is no 12.3, there is no 13, there is no 14. All the new stuff that comes in EBS comes on the top of 12.2, because the 12.2, as we have shared for a couple of years now, it's the continuous innovation release, which means it is the release that will be here for a very, very long time. We have no end date for the release of EBS. We have no end date for 12.2, and all the new updates will come on the top of 12.2. So that is from a functional perspective and business functionality. Now, on the technology perspective, we are, again, we just talked about the 12.2 being the continuous innovation release. What does it mean? It means we will be able to provide you with the latest and the greatest technology stack, like future, fusion, middleware release in, let's say, in 2022, 2023, or whatever, and without actually moving your application code. You could be running Fusion middleware 25, yet you could be running 12.2.9 or 12.2.2, etc. So we have managed to separate the tech stack from the application code, so we can update the tech stack and still stay within the same application release. It's a huge innovation. It's something we have never thought we would be able to do it one day. And guess what? We finally found a way how to do it. We call it tech stack upgrade only, or in PeopleSoft, they call it tools only upgrade. It's actually an idea that came from PeopleSoft and JD Edwards. And we have managed to find a way to adapt the same principle in the EBS, change the tech stack without having a major upgrade, still staying with 12.2. So that is a summary on the fourth piece of the hexagon. And finally, about the long-term support strategy for EBS. If you look at back in, when we were in 2018, we announced back then that there is a 10-year premium support for EBS 12.2. And at that time, we said it's 2030. We announced the 2030 and everybody heard about it. Now, today, we are in 2020, and in fact, we just extended that to 2031. And that is not a solid date. Watch out and stay tuned with us and keep watching for that date. It may well be extended again. So I'm not making any commitment here, but I'm just saying we have already changed it from 2030 to 2031. That 2031 may change again, may be extended again, and we will evaluate every year. We will evaluate our customer base, and we actually will give you an update on the premium support date for 12.2. In addition to the support date that has been extended to 2031, we also talk not enough about the rolling 10 years premium support, which means at any point in time, you will always have 10 years in your hand, excuse me, 10 years in your hand to do with premium support to do anything else you want. Let's say, for example, Oracle decided in 2025 that we are not, it's the end date of EBS. In fact, even when we announced that, if we announce that as an example in 2025, you will still have 10 years premium support of EBS, which means you have until 2035 to do something else. I gave this example. I'm not saying there is such an announcement. There is absolutely no plan. I'm just giving it as an example to illustrate what a rolling 10 years premium support means for our customers. But today we have no plan for end date. It was just an example. So with that, really gives us hopefully at a very high level the EBS overall strategy. Now, what does it mean for support timeline for EBS customers? Most of our customers today, they are either on 12.1 or 12.2. We have a handful of customers still on 11i, but the majority are either 12.1 and 12.2. To tell you the truth, if I look at worldwide, the recent analysis we have is about 60% on 12.2 and 40% on 12.1 worldwide. But then that number may change from one region to another. I think in the UK in general, I would say it's probably the other way around. I would say it's probably 60% are still on 12.1 and 40% on 12.2, but that's just based on my analysis when I travel in the UK, when I presented in the UK. In general, that's the perception I have. I don't necessarily have a data point today to that, but based on my travel to the region, that's my assumption. So what does it mean to those customers? So in the 12.1 we already know about 12.2. 12.2 is here forever, but 12.1 customers, you really need to be off 12.1 by December 2021. This is the end of premium support for 12.1. You may ask yourself, where is the extended support? Basically, the extended support has already been converted to premium support. Remember, 12.1 came in 2009, and by the end of December 2021, customers will be getting 11 years at least of premium support. So that is much more than what Oracle support policy ever will give you in an Oracle product. So really, 12.1 is ready to move to 12.2 customers. So for 12.2, as we said, at least 2031. For 12.1, if you are still on 12.1, you really need to be doing something, doing a project on 12.1, either moving it 12.2, or maybe you are considering SaaS, ERP cloud. So either way, whatever project you are have decided to do, you need to be off 12.1 by December 2021. Now, that takes me to the next topic, which is about the ongoing investment. Now, the 12.2 as a release is really where everything is happening. So what is great about 12.2? If I just want to put some key points about 12.2, it has to be the online patching for reduced downtime. The new obviously this is why we did 12.2. There is a lot of new enhancement in the 12.2 product line, which I will talk about a little bit, but really a lot on the UI, and not only in the UI of the core forms and etc., but also the new solution and command centers. The online patching, for those who are not familiar, if you are on 12.1, you may not know what's the signature feature of 12.2, which is the online patching. It's a way of patching your EBS system while the system is up and running, meaning your DBA is patching the system and your user is using the system at the same time. So there is a very small cutover, which is really the time where the system is down. We call it a cutover period. And that cutover period is very, very predictable. Most customers telling us between 20 to 30 minutes. Of course, it depends on what you are doing at the same time, but that is very predictable. Now, of course, we only have 45-minute sessions, so I'm not going to be able to tell you about what's the feature function in 12.2. So I summarized some of the key enhancements by product family, but this is just some of the highlights, and not everything in 12.2, but just things that are, summarized in the things that are very common. If you want to know more about all of those feature functions, I will suggest to study the RCD, the release content document, as highlighted here on the screen. That RCD shows you per product family. There are about 16 RCD, and they are organized by product, by release, and by feature. And the new features, you will see what's in 12.1.x, what's new in 12.2.x. So it's a very, very detailed, it's an inventory of every single feature per release, per product family. I hope you are familiar with the RCD. Once you have identified the features you want in the RCD, you may want to study that feature in more detail, which is how do you actually implement the feature. So this is something called TOI, the transfer of information, TOI, which is online training on how to help you how you implement and use the feature of 12.2. I hope you are also familiar with the concept of TUI. I am putting here two URL. The first one is really where all the TUIs is, oracle.com/EBS dash learn. This is the short URL. And also there is a PDF document that really shows you all what is available there. So that is on the EBS 12.2 features. So what about the user experience? We talked about the user experience being a central piece of our investment priorities. So in 12.2, we have done two main things. On the right-hand side, we have really enhanced the functionality and the user experience and the user interface in EBS. We have done more HTML UI, more, we call it the Ultra UI, some people call it the Cloud UI. And this is really the same UI our cloud application use, and we all embrace the same UI internally, which is what we call the Ultra UI. You can, with the Ultra UI and the HTML, you can run the application on your tablet as well. So we have done that since the beginning of 12.2. We continue to move or migrate or rewrite, whatever term you like, forms, Oracle forms to Oracle OAF, the HTML. We have started with the order management in the 12.2.4, and there is more since then all the way to 12.2.9. We continue to do that where it makes sense, where we see the reason why we should move forms into HTML. But if the question, will we ever get rid of forms totally in EBS? Let me be very honest and very clear. There is no such a project. We have no project which says we are to rewrite every single form. There are so many forms that are not used at all. For example, like setup forms, configuration form. If you are an existing customer, you don't use those forms anyway because you have done your setup, you have done your implementation, you have done your configuration. Those forms are there, but you are not using them. So we are not going to put the resources to rewrite 30 years forms into HTML today, and especially those forms are not used. So we really are being more tactical, which is where it makes sense to move the forms into HTML. And when I say move, in fact, it's not about removing the forms, it's we are providing you an alternative UI to forms. So the forms will be still there, but we are giving you the HTML version of it. So if you have customized your form, then we are not going to override it. So you keep your custom forms. But for those who have made a conscious decision to uptake the HTML version instead of forms version, that's obviously something you need to do with the conscious. So that is in general of the forms into HTML. And I don't want to focus on that because we have been doing that and talking about it since the beginning of 12.2. What is new in 12.2 from a UI perspective is really the enterprise command centers. We have today 28 command centers across the suite. It is something that you deploy. There is no additional cost. It's not a licensable product. It really comes as part of the license you have on the EBS product itself. So what is the enterprise command center? It's really about identifying issues and acting on priority transaction without custom operational report. So someone looks at it at the first slide and says, well, this is like BI apps. Actually, it does look like BI apps, but it is definitely not the BI apps. BI apps it runs on a data warehouse. It's operational. This is actually, if I need to compare it to anything, this would say it would replace your operational reporting like Discoverer or any other reports you have built. However, it's much more than that because you can actually click on those images and those charts. So it's interactive. So it's not only interactive, it is drill down, it's browse. It's like a consumer shopping experience. It's identifying action without actually searching for it. All of that, I put also the quick start guide for ECC on the link there, so you can take it in your own time. Let's it runs on 12.2.4 and above. We only certified and support 12.2.4 and above. It's no additional cost, as I said, as long as you have the license for the base product. For example, if you have financial, you get the ECC financial for free without extra cost. It integrates with EBS UI, so it runs within EBS HTML UI. It can drill down to the transaction page to take action. It honors the EBS security, the BI apps or any other BI tools. You need to reconfigure all the security policies into that BI solution. Here, it does honor the EBS security, which means if you have set up your function security, your data security, etc., all they are honored in the ECC. It is an EBS solution. So let's take an example of the just take one example of the ECC, and I'm going to use the example of receivable. So in the receivable, the receivable professional, when they come in the morning and connect to their EBS, their job as a receivable professional is to find which customers are not paying their invoices. What are the past due customers that have invoices that have been there for a while that have not been paid? So usually the receivable professional, they generate operational report to Excel, and then they start evaluating and studying and reviewing the Excel. Well, that actually doesn't happen anymore with ECC. You will have immediately a 360 view of your outstanding receivable. You connect, you see on the open receivable, you find your ledger, you find your outstanding balances, your past due balances, and so on and so on. You also see in the middle of the screen some of the graphs. So for example, here on the right hand side, you see the top past due customers. Those are the customers who have not been paying their invoices, and you see, oh, there is a Hillman and Associate that has a very long bar, green bar, which means this customer has big invoices that have been unpaid. So immediately you may think of calling Hillman and Associate, one of your customers, and say, guys, you have not been paying your invoices. But before you do that, I'd like to actually evaluate those customers. And in fact, instead of just focusing on past due customers, I'd like to see the open outstanding receivable, the aging bucket. You know, in EBS, you have aging bucket reports, which you can generate, etc. Here, they come interactively into your screen. So here, I'm going to focus not on 30-day aging bucket. I'm not going to focus on 60 days or 90 days. I'm going to focus on over 90 days. So customers who have not paid their invoices over 3 months. And so I'm going to click, instead of calling Hillman and Associate on the right-hand side, I'm actually going to click over the 90 days bar. So when I click on that, you see the past due customer graph recalculates itself. And now it's not Hillman and Associate as the customer, delinquent customer. It's actually AC network. Now I am focusing only on customers who have not been paid their invoices over 30 days or over 90 days, i.e. 3 months. So now I see the AC network, and if I click on that particular customer and I focus on that particular customer, I see all the invoices that accumulate to the AC network as the total amount. And I see on the bottom the transaction list. In fact, I can check which invoice that is biggest invoice the customer has. It happened to be on the top because I sorted them the biggest top. So I can review the actual invoice that the customer has not paid. So I click on that review link and it shows me the exact invoice that the customer has not paid. So with 3 clicks away, I did not know who is not paying their invoices, how many aging customers in each bucket of the aging reports, and which customer I really should call. 3 clicks away, I did not have that information. And that is really the beauty of ECC. And this is just a small example. There is a presentation list later on today by my colleague Mohamed Ubaida, he's the VP of the ECC, and he will take you into the whole session just about ECC. Now, just in the last update, the March update of ECC, we now have 28 command centers. And amongst those 28 command centers, we have 95 dashboards across the suite. We have added more command center solution in V4. If you are familiar with V3, more in V4, and more dashboards in many of those areas. So more on that from my colleague. I want to focus a little bit about the OCI, the adoption. So when we talk about moving EBS from on-prem data center to the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, what does it mean exactly? People say, oh, is this SaaS? Well, no, it's not. It's still EBS. It's still the EBS product that your users know. It's still the EBS product you already own the license for. It's still the EBS product that you have been customizing, because when we say move EBS to the cloud, people say, oh, I don't want to do that because I will lose my customization, because they hear that the SaaS in general, you can't customize easily, etc. So this is the same EBS. This is not SaaS. You can customize EBS on the cloud infrastructure in the same way you have been customizing EBS on-prem. It's totally exactly, and I cannot repeat enough, it is the same EBS that you just run on the cloud infrastructure. With everything you were able to do on-prem, you are able to do on OCI. It's also the same EBS that you have integrated. We know that customers have EBS, but they have other technologies, they have other solutions they integrated. As long as you have, if you keep that integrated solution on-prem and EBS on OCI, you obviously need to ensure that there is a good connectivity between the two data centers, i.e. most recommended is VPN, and your integration will continue to work as they have been before. So basically the OCI Oracle Cloud Infrastructure data center becomes your extended data center. So it is exactly the same. Now, what do we do on the cloud infrastructure? We help customers provision quickly, whether it's a very quick provisioning, like with the preset topology, or advanced provisioning with the flexible topology. You can provision very quickly for a new implementation like LKQ did. This is exactly what LKQ did. When I mentioned LKQ, a customer born in the cloud, they took an advanced flexible topology, did a new implementation. You could also do for demo purposes as well, the demo images like the vision demo environment. But if you already are an existing customer, provisioning may not be of interest to you, but lift and shift on the right-hand side is really what you care most about. We are providing tools and automation to help you do not only provisioning, but also help you do a lift and shift of your fully configured EBS system with all the EBS configuration, with all your historical data, with all your customization. Once your EBS is up and running on OCI, the lifecycle management of EBS kicks off, which is, you need to clone, you need to do backup and restore, you need to do elasticity, you need to do DR, you need to patch. All of those, what we call lifecycle activities, are still needed when you are moving your EBS on OCI, and we're providing the tools to help customers do that. The tools that we are talking about is something called the EBS Cloud Manager. It's a graphical UI. It helps you do your deployment, and it will help you do your lifecycle management, all graphically using a screen like you see on the right-hand side. We can do a separate session focused on EBS on OCI, but this is just a teaser on how we can help customers run their EBS environment on a cloud infrastructure. We have a lot of resources, mostly accessible from oracle.com/EBS. You find strategy information, roadmap, feature function, announcement, video, product training, all of that from a single place, which is oracle.com/EBS. We also have information about 12.2 in particular. All of this, you can take them in, again, accessible from oracle.com/EBS resources. And some takeaway I'd like to keep you with: for 12.2 provides a substantial value today, and not only today, it's the release that all the new features will come on the top. EBS 12.2 is about online patching. It's about the new solution we call the Enterprise Command Centers. It has 10 years plus functional innovation as well as user experience beyond the 12.1. It's the release that has been nominated as the continuous innovation release, meaning all the new features will come on the top of it, including the technology modernization. And it has a long-term support, premium support, no end date, at least for today. We have no plan in the horizon. We have many customers, they count they're running their business on EBS. For customers beyond who are still on 12.1, they need to move on and they need to do their project beyond 12.1. Premium support for 12.1 will stop on 2021. If you are still not able to upgrade your EBS beyond 2021, we offer a support called MDS offering, market-driven support, through our ACS team. And if you are interested in that, I can give you more detail on that aspect. With that, I come to the end of the slides. I'd like to see if we have any questions. Let me see. Okay, Jordan. Hi, Jordan. I see. I'm reading. I'm looking at the chat. So it seems like we only have one so far. Is ECC a backport from Fusion SaaS? Absolutely not. ECC is totally EBS. There is nothing in SaaS that is related to ECC. Again, ECC is EBS only. It can only run on EBS. It can only run on EBS 12.2.4 onwards. What decision would drive a new customer to go to EBS on OCI and not Oracle Fusion Cloud SaaS? The customers have the option to evaluate. Actually, I think Oracle is giving the option to customers. The Oracle has a long strategy in EBS, have a lot of investment in SaaS, has a long strategy in OCI. So we're giving all of those options to customers. Now it's up to the customer to evaluate what is best for them. If SaaS is the best option for them, absolutely, you have a great team at Oracle that will help you be successful with SaaS. If SaaS is not something for you today, after you evaluated it, and you think you are not ready to go to SaaS, then, but you want to benefit from the cloud economics without doing a re-implementation in SaaS because you felt like it's not the right thing for you today. Maybe it will be in 5 years, but today you feel like I am not ready for SaaS. If that is what you have in mind, then you can actually put your EBS on OCI and gain the cloud economics like agility, like reducing cost, reducing risk, and benefit from those cloud economics while you are still in EBS. And when the day you are comfortable and happy to go to SaaS, obviously also Oracle is giving you that option either today or in 2 years' time or 3 years' time. You as a customer have all the options to choose. Let's see. Hi, Nadia.
Robert,
are there any plans to add any new dashboard or report for? Oh, that's a good question for ECC for HCM users. We already have an ECC for EBS HCM. It's for the Workflow Explorer, and it is only one solution for HCM. There are some customers who raised the payroll. There are some customers raised other areas. We are evaluating that. And please, if you have a very, very well-defined requirement for ECC for HCM, Jeff, please send me an email with your case. We will be more than happy to evaluate that use case. ECC, we are developing ECZ like hotcakes, and they are coming almost like 2 releases per year. So we are very eager to hear from customers with very good use cases on ECC. We are very open on that. There is a question from Chris. I have an EBS customer and OCI on VMDB 11G and 12C databases deployed using EBS Cloud Manager. Do you have plans to release DB upgrade procedures for these customers that will not break EBS Cloud Manager like you have to customers on EBS on compute? Upgrade, okay. So you mean upgrade to 19C, Chris, right? I'm assuming you are talking about upgrading a database from 11G-R2 or 12C to 19C. Very, very good
Nadia.
question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or 11G to 12C for customers still a bit nervous about 19C.
Yes. Yes, the question is very, very valid. We are really working extremely hard on that. And actually, it's not EBS who's blocking it or delaying it. Before EBS Cloud Manager can uptake and deliver the automation of the upgrade, we need the APIs, we need the technology foundation from the database team. So we are working extremely closely and extremely hard with the database colleague to deliver the underpinning API, the underpinning technology to upgrade on the cloud today, which is not actually available from a database side. Even forget about EBS. Today, you cannot upgrade to 19C on a database. Now, before we do it in EBS, the database needs to provide us that. And that is what we are working with the database team. As soon as that is done, it's very close from a database side. Once it is GA from a database side, we obviously uptake in the Cloud Manager. Believe me, Chris, it's very, very close to our heart because we know our EBS customers on OCI are eager and waiting for the upgrade to 19C. And that is why, specifically for 12C customers, that is why we work with the database support team to waive totally the extended support, the uplift for extended support, because obviously we have not given the customer the solution, and therefore we are taking it on us and waive the uplift fees, i.e. the penalty. So you know what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's just that 11G is obviously de-support at the end of the year, so they won't get CPU patches. So we have to move them to 12C or 19, you know.
And true, because 11G customers, 11G-R2 customer really had a long time to upgrade to 12C. Nothing has stopped them in the past to upgrade from 11G to 12C. So in a way, they had time to upgrade before. They did not. The penalty has already been waived for 11G-R2 all the way to the extended support. So there is nothing to waive. But for 12C and 11G, we are providing the MDS solution to keep them running until the upgrade is done. So you know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't know. Yeah, it's just because obviously you've moved them. You've got Cloud Manager. You can use all the lifecycle management. But when you do the manual upgrade, which you can, but then Cloud Manager won't see.
Correct.
It won't see it again. Right. You know, the manual discovery just isn't there for VMDB. And the same for block volume cloning. You know, it's the same. It's only available on compute. You know,
and that is because it's available on compute, and EBS have uptaken it in compute. That tells you because it's not available from a technology point of view in the database itself on a PaaS service, whether it's a VMDB and EXA. Those are EBS is driven what is available from a database team. The database team today is working on it. When you say you could do it manually, yes, you can do it manually, but there is even the control plane will not see it. So yes, you could do it manually, but not through the control plane. And EBS Cloud Manager relies on what the automation, so you do not break the automation from the control plane, and you do not break the automation from a Cloud Manager perspective.